Well, what is human trafficking? It's a question advocates say even its victims often can't answer. But its practice still leaves a traumatic mark on the Ohio Valley. In the first of a two-part series, 7 News reporter Colin Roos speaks with a local woman who felt its pain early in life, but taught a generation how to rise above it.
But God. That's how Susan Klein describes the arc of her life. One wounded with self-doubt and emotional pain early on, but one that faith was able to renew and heal. Through her leadership as principal and pastor at Spiro Academy in Martins Ferry, she's overcome a childhood afflicted by human trafficking, forced exploitation by the neighbors who should have loved her the most.
I believed I would only have that opportunity, that I was always going to live for someone else's pleasure or their abuse.
Klein was born in a Christian household in southern West Virginia. She had 3 brothers and parents she says loved her more than life itself, but ones she said didn't have open conversation about uncomfortable topics. When they moved to Akron, Ohio, their trust in their new community led them to send their only daughter with other families overnight, ones with older children who took advantage of her.
It became a time of being shared by multiple people. And it was girls and boys and just different things going on that my mom and dad, and I cannot understand the reason why, even when as a little girl, why I never told them.
Sounds like it was a betrayal of that trust that you grew up knowing in your family.
Yeah.
She says fear of rejection from her parents led her to keep the trafficking to herself until she was eventually abducted by an adult neighbor.
I had to be like 7, 8, 9 years old. And, but I do remember some of the abuse that was going on and the things that he did. And I do remember my dad. He became my hero that night. And he brought me home.
The family returned to West Virginia, but a move back to the mountains couldn't heal the psychological damage. She endured an abusive first marriage before she met her pastor husband, who led her to the words she says finally delivered her freedom.
The only reason I'm a survivor is because of the grace of God. And I did not have a mentor. I did not have someone listening to my story, but I had God.
Now as a grandmother to 8, she's vowed to break open the closed-off communication she grew up with. She's made it clear to her children that they can ask her anything. She says with everything they hear from school and from their peers, children need to be seen and heard.
They could talk about sex, drugs, rock and roll. I don't care. We're going to talk about it. I think you need to have that dinner time of a family as much as possible. Even if it's one day a week, get that dinner time conversation and really just let them talk.
It's a policy that stopped trafficking from continuing its cycle of pain and helped 30 years of children in her ministry to grow free from abuse, but for the grace of God. Reporting in Martins Ferry, I'm Colin Roos, working for you.
Now that you've heard Susan's story, tune in tomorrow for the conclusion of our two-part series, where we look at the volunteers in the Ohio Valley building a network of healing for trafficking victims.